Hello strangers, how's it going? Let's get right into it. Another Black Desert Online guide about workers and nodes. So we're going to break this video into two parts. The first part will be covering workers and learning the basics of nodes, and the second part will go over node investments and how to choose the best nodes for you to invest in. But anyways, let's get started. So in this first video, we're going to cover what are workers, lodging, and how to hire workers, how to assign workers to tasks, the worker list menu, and how to recover your workers. So let's start with what are workers. So workers are goblins, humans, or giants that work for you in certain cities. You can hire these workers and they'll help you gather ingredients over time, allowing you to save tons of energy and time that can be used elsewhere. So these rankings of workers range from best to worst: orange, yellow, blue, green, and gray. Workers also have a level. These levels range from 1 to 30, and depending on your rank and level of your worker, it will determine the following stats: work speed, stamina, luck, and movement speed. All these stats will determine how fast a task can be completed, how long your worker can work for, the chances of getting secondary ingredients, and how fast your worker can travel. So what are secondary ingredients? So these ingredients are obtained from nodes which can drop a main ingredient and a secondary one. So the secondary one is just obtained less frequently than the main resource from the node. This is dependent on your luck. So the higher luck of your worker, the higher chance of getting the secondary ingredient. So now that you understand the workers' stats, let's go over the types of workers. So for the types of workers, there are goblins, humans, and giants. I will not be going over naive workers because they are just absolutely useless and should just be avoided no matter what. So goblin workers are workers who have fast movement speed and work speed with low luck and stamina. So the goblin is a best worker for players who don't go AFK for too long. So personally, I don't put goblins on nodes who can obtain secondary ingredients. This is because of their low luck. But I will put goblins on nodes who receive only one ingredient, like wheat, corn, or potato farms. So humans have average work speed, stamina, and movement speed, but they do have high luck. I suggest putting these workers on nodes with access to secondary ingredients because of their higher luck. Humans will work for about 4 to 6 hours before running out of stamina, and humans are like the in-between of goblins and giants, but in my opinion, I think they're the best worker. So lastly, there are giant workers. These workers have low work speed and movement speed, average luck, and high stamina. Giant workers are the best for players who AFK all night or like to leave their horses running while they're at work. Giants are also good because they can carry large loads longer distances, making them useful for nodes far away from his assigned city. They will work for 8 hours without needing any beer. So let's move on to the next part. But before we can hire any workers, we need to give them some lodging to live in. So let's go to the map, click on the blue town icon to access the buildings you can invest in. In the upper right, you can sort by which buildings you want, select lodging, and blue arrows will show up on all the lodging buildings. Investing in these buildings will allow you to hire more workers in that town. Lodging can range from level 1 to 5 depending on what building you're at. A level 1 can only hire 1 extra worker, while a level 5 lodging can allow you to have 8 extra workers. On to the next part, what workers to buy and how to get them. So since you got some lodging, you should be able to hire some workers. Based on the previous information about what types of workers you want to have, you should be able to choose what one is the best for you. This is highly dependent on your playstyle in BDO. So for example, you have something like Alejandro's farm located northwest of Heidel. This node can only get you cooking honey and no secondary ingredient. This makes the luck of a human worker useless, so here I will toss a goblin worker on there. This is so I could have a faster worker completing the task. But then we'll look at Moretti's plantation. This has a flax node. Its primary ingredients is flax, but the secondary ingredients is flax thread. Here I'll put a human worker. His luck will give me a better chance of obtaining flax thread. Hey guys, so let's hop in game and I'm going to just show you real quick how to get a worker. So what you want to do is you want to just click in the upper right on NPC and then click worker. So this is going to give you a waypoint that leads you to the closest work supervisor. And running over here, you click R on him and then you click contract workers. So it says it will cost 5 energy to hire a worker. So every worker that is rolled, you're going to lose 5 energy for it. So let's just go into it. So we got a giant worker, which is green, which is not that good. So we'll go view another until we get something that we want. So let's just keep going. So skilled human worker. So I'd say blue plus is always good to grab. So we'll take the skilled human worker, we'll go hire worker, and he is now hired. There's also worker exchange. So you could go into the worker exchange, and this is other players in game selling their workers for silver. See, this will cost me 600,000 silver for this giant skilled worker working in Kepler. So this is his stats, his promotion number, and then all his extra skills. So since you just got your first worker, I'm going to now show you how to get your first worker to work. So since I already have nodes invested in around Hydel, I'm going to use Valia for an example. So here we have Valia, and we have these nodes surrounding it. So I'm going to choose Coastal Cave as a node that I want my worker to work at. As you see, there's a line connecting it, meaning I could invest into it. So let's go into Coastal Cave, and we're going to go for iron ore. So before we could go to iron ore, we need to click on contribution investment in the upper left. Clicking this will invest in the node, which gives you access to the ingredients. So now clicking on iron ore, you can now invest your contribution, and now you have the iron ore node available. So now you put your worker on the node. So I will do a human worker since it does have a secondary ingredient. I'll make him just work max times with his, which is 50,000 for 37 minutes, and we'll just go start work. So he is now working, and congrats, you just got your first worker working. So after your workers have been gathering for a few hours, they will run out of stamina. This can be recovered by giving your worker a beer. It is basically food for your workers, and you will need a lot of it as you progress farther. So let's learn how to make it. So after your first batch of workers, I would suggest putting them on nodes like wheat, corn, and potato. This is one of the ingredients you need to produce beer, and these nodes can be located south of Hydel and Valia. Once you assigned your worker, you will slowly gather potato, corn, or whatever you chose, but for now we'll just say wheat. So once you've built up enough wheat, you can craft beer. This can be done by taking out 5 wheat from your storage, then going to the food NPC for sugar, leavening agent, and mineral water. Mixing 5 wheat, 1 sugar, 2 leavening agents, and 6 mineral water will grant you with a beer, or even more depending on your cooking level. All this mixing to be done in a cooking utensil at a residential building that you have invested in. Just like lodging, there is a residential building that you could invest in also. So this beer that you make could feed your workers, and you could have an unlimited supply of stamina for them, instead of buying the beer from the marketplace and spending a lot of unnecessary silver. Alright guys, so let's hop into Photoshop, and I'm just going to explain the worker list to you real quick. So if you press M, you'll go on the map, and then if you click this button in the bottom right, it will pop up this menu. So here's all your workers. So it will tell you your worker level, what kind of worker he is, the city he is queued at, like his hometown. This is recovering just that worker. This is repeating his task. This is canceling his last repeated task, and this is promotion. We'll go over promotion in a bit. So in the bottom you have recover all, and then you have repeat all. So recover all is to recover all your workers' stamina. This will consume all the beer in your inventory depending on how much stamina needs to be recovered. Repeating all will repeat all your previous workers' tasks. And to fire selected, even though it's a bit cut off, you would check mark the worker you want to fire by clicking on the little gray box here, and then you click fire. So let's go over promotion. So you could promote a worker every 10 levels, and there's a total of 3 chances. So this means if you had a skilled human worker and he was level 30, he would have 3 promotions if you didn't promote him yet. So if you did a promotion and he failed, he has 2 left. And say if you failed 2 more, he would have no promotions. This means he's stuck at a skilled human worker and he is basically useless. But say if you had a skilled human worker who succeeded in the promotion, then you would have a professional human worker, and you would repeat until you get artisans. This is what you want, is a bunch of artisans. This takes time though, because each test will take up to 24 hours with a chance of failure, and you could only do 1 worker at a time. Well, that's going to be it for me from this guide. This one took a bit more effort than usual. Thanks for joining me today. Enjoy playing BDO and don't get overwhelmed. Even me personally, I've only been playing for a month or so and I still don't even know much about this game yet. But I am willing to share what I do know with new players that want to learn and play along while I learn also. And if you want to keep watching, check out some of my other guides. But anyways, thanks guys, hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed, and if you want to stay tuned for part 2 and even more guides to come, hit the red button below. Thanks for watching, bye strangers.